Hi, it's Ken McElroy, owner of MC Companies. Each and every year, we do a big employee retreat where we bring 150 employees in from all over the country to study for 2 days, one book. The reason we do a 2-day book study is because I'm trying to get all my employees to learn a little bit about personal development. See, we don't go over financials, we don't go over numbers, we don't go over charts, we don't tell them what's right or what's wrong or how they're doing. We feel like they can do that the rest of the year. What we do is we study together and we try to develop personally. So when they leave the retreat, they're better in their personal life and in their business life. This year's theme was all around customer service, but really it was around relationships. So one of the speakers that I brought in this year was Jason Hartman. And Jason Hartman has a very big real estate company. He's been buying and selling real estate his entire life, but really he's a personal development guy. I was really happy when Jason accepted the offer to come to Scottsdale. So with no further ado, here's Jason.
We talked about context and content, and these two concepts that, the content of our life is what most people focus on. How much money do we have? What kind of relationships do we have? Do we have this, that, or the other thing? What's our health like? That's really content. Context is more the environment we make possible for that content to grow, right? So when it comes to being an entrepreneur or managing real estate deals, whether they be apartments or single-family homes or doing acquisitions, there's the technical knowledge that you've got to have. It's the how-to, the what-to, that matters. But before that, the foundational philosophy of life, that sort of holistic approach to life. And like I mentioned when I was talking to Ken's group today, I think we're missing something today in today's world. Like there's not enough speakers and authors talking about general foundational philosophy. I really think we're missing that. And, I talked about my 4 great mentors, Zig Ziglar, Dennis Waitley, Earl Nightingale, and Jim Rohn. And then I had others later like Og Mandino and then later Tony Robbins and stuff like that, Wayne Dyer too. You can learn the technical, the how-to. Anybody can learn that. But if you don't have the right, sort of set of beliefs or underpinning philosophy, you won't really have the motivation to do it. I think that one leads to the other. So the question of how someone can expand their context is probably a big discussion, and I'm not an expert, okay? But I would say that an easy start to that is, the simple idea of think big, right? There's a great old book called The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. It's excellent, It's old-fashioned, but it's quite good. Certainly our current president is a think big type of guy, right? Love him or hate him. That's Donald Trump, by the way, depending on when someone's watching this. So that's part of it. But I think, like I talked about today, a real easy way to do it is to just have a belief system that it's, number one, easy to be happy. A lot of us put all these restrictions on our happiness, all these hurdles we have to jump, all these requirements. And, I used to do that a lot. I certainly do it a little bit still. But, make it easy to be happy with your life. And that will instill an attitude of gratitude. And I tell you, the easiest success principle of all is gratitude. Just be grateful. Most of the world lives on $2 a day. A large portion of humanity lives on $2 a day. I'm sure no one watching this video lives on $2 a day. I'm sure they all live on a lot more than that. So wherever you are on that spectrum, just be grateful and have that philosophy of gratitude. Thanksgiving Day should be every day of the year, okay? Because at some level, all of us have more than somebody else, and we have something to be grateful for, okay? So that's the first thing. And but then balance that with a little bit of constructive discontent, because constructive discontent creates progress. Now, notice the key word is constructive discontent. Just being discontented and feeling like the world owes us a living, that's not constructive, right? That's destructive. Because when we have that attitude, that's the opposite of gratitude. That's going to keep us ungrateful. It's going to keep us constantly keeping score in our mind. And that's just a lot of burden to walk through life with. It's no fun. The Western culture is more based on the visual, and success is usually quantified with money, right? And the reason is that it's easy, right? That's the easy scorekeeping tool. You can count it, okay? You can count it. It's totally quantifiable. You know, Bill Gates now has less than Jeff Bezos, and Warren Buffett has less. Now the Amazon founder is the richest person. But you know, in a few years, it'll probably be somebody else, right? It's always shifting. And there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think. There's nothing wrong with money and financial success. I mean, listen, I love it. I think it's great. And for a lot of my life when I didn't have it, that's exactly what I wanted. It's what I focused on the most. Now that I do have it, it's less interesting to me, honestly. I want to expand some of the other areas of my life more and concentrate on them. But if you don't have resources, and in the Western world and even in the Eastern world, look, I mean, the Eastern world, you know, they like money too, okay? I've been all over Asia, I've been to 81 countries, and they like designer brands and status symbols and all that kind of stuff. You know, but if you don't have resources, you can't do things. So you do need some degree of financial resource. So it's a balance. There's nothing wrong with chasing that as long as it doesn't become your God. I think maybe that's the way to look at it. Well, I think it's just a process of constantly auditing where we are in life, right? So there's the old saying, the unexamined life is not worth living. I think that was a Platoism, and it's true. So we've got to constantly examine our lives, right? And we've got to constantly look at that wheel of life in those 8 areas. And, you know, different people over the years have modified that wheel of life, and they'll change the 8 areas around, and they won't always be the same. And I think anybody watching this can pick their own 8. But there's a good guideline that obviously things like your financial life, your personal growth, health, you know, family and relation, you know, these things are universal, okay? And so there are some things that probably need to just be on everybody's wheel, right? But certainly there have been very renowned and passionate people that have made great contributions to humanity throughout history that have been very lopsided in their wheel. You know, Thomas Edison was an example. You know, I hear he used to just do nothing but work, but he didn't look at it as work. So for him, was it that out of balance? He was in his, you know, as Earl Nightingale says, the river of interest, that he just loved tinkering and loved inventing. And, you know, he used to say, like, I don't work, I just go to play every day. And that's, so it's different for everybody. And I just like doing interesting projects. To a lot of people, those look like work, and there is some definite work involved with them. But hey, look, if you're an athlete, I mean, training all the time, that's work, right? I mean, no one would say that's just fun, okay? If you want to be a great athlete, or if you want to do anything great, if you want to be a great chef, you know, there's work involved in everything. Every hobby has an element of work to it. My real estate investor website is jasonhartman.com, just my name, JASONHARTMAN.com. And then I have a podcasting network and a media company called the Hartman Media Company, which is hartmanmedia.com.